So, when I designed my still and do my research, I didn't want just one still. There's certain things I want to do, and I want to be able to run the whole gambit of things. And there's some future projects coming as well that I haven't done yet. But the one thing I did want to do is I did want a pot still. So, in using that, I made a very large first section, and you've probably seen that already in some previous videos. So that's the first section that I have for the still, and that's what I'm using it in pot still. I may throw one or two bubble chambers on this, but I don't want this as a full reflux setup. It's just too long. And what I did want was a section of two of them. So here we have one that's already done. And this will be the first one on the keg. And then on top of here, I'm going to put a screen washer. So any puking or anything like that will get captured by the screen and won't allow it to pass from there. Also serves a second purpose. As you see here, I'm setting up to TIG weld up a new section. All right, so that'll sit above this one. So there'll be a screen here. And then this one here, this column, will allow me to pack 2 rows of the copper mesh, which essentially every row is an extra plate in your reflux still. So by able to put 2 more sections of copper into there, that gives me all the copper I need to take out the sulfates, and it lowers the whole still to a more manageable height, and allows me to put in all 5 bubble plates. So we'll get that done up today, and see what it looks like when I'm done. Hi, I'm back again now. So what I've done is I've made those 2 new pieces that I wanted to make, and I'll show you why I made them. So this one here is going to go right on top of the keg still. And the intent of that is, once again, because I'm using all the bubble plates, all 5 of them, to do a finer, drier spirit run and try and get a vodka out of it. I want this one on first because then I can put on my puking screen. Now I don't want my screen directly on my keg. Simply because it's got the groove here on both sides, whereas the washer that goes on the keg only has a groove on the one side. And the screen, if I put it too close to the keg, it could get plugged. So I do want a lift up before I hit the screen. So that's the intent of that there. And from there I can actually add the long one if I'm using a pot still. And once again, here is the reason why I was doing all this is our setup is to do different types of spirits, and not any single style of still will do all spirits. But if you make your still modular, then you have all these choices. So if I want just a straight moonshine, which is a very heavy, oily, thick whiskey, it's just nothing is stripped out. So a larger column is what you want. And you know, you can put a CCBM on top if you want, just to knock it down a bit, but that's just clarifying the spirits, and I can do that with one bubble plate, or I can pack in some copper into this column. Once again, I could also add the new section I made here, which goes on top of the small one, and that one there is going to be packed with all this copper. So I've got the copper here, and I'll roll that out. Now you roll these fairly loosely. This is more than enough to probably almost fill this. And I've got another box here, and there's a long story behind having 2 boxes, but well, we won't get into that. So I've got lots of copper. So I'll just loosely take this off, and I'll roll it in the size of the 2-inch diameter, roll it tight, bring it up to the 2-inch, and just put it into the column. Once again, with the screen in here, it's not going to get past that. So when we go back and we think about it, here's my pot still set up, and then it goes up to the top, it gets to the T, which I'll have, now in pot still I'd probably want a thermometer or my K-type probe inside the keg itself, because then I'm looking at boiler temperatures when I'm running, and that's what you're controlling. Once you're into full reflux, or you're doing a reflux, you're not into boiler temperatures. Boiler temperatures mean very little at that point in time. In fact, I don't even monitor them. At that point in time, I'm measuring temperature right now above the flag in the T, and I've made up a new top for that. Or what I might do is on this one here, because this will likely be the one I'll be using most times in full reflux, is I may put a screw in here so I can put a probe into here and measure my temperature directly below the defrag. It may give me a better, more accurate control of my deflag, but I don't need to do that until I actually hook up solenoids to run my deflag and use it through a PID. So that's not in the immediate future. I can turn valves for now and I'm happy with that, but it is in the plans at some point. So this will take care of my moonshines, my heavy whiskeys. If I go into a couple of reflux plates, then I end up with a drier whiskey, drier spirit. But one of the things, oh, and with the full reflux, I can get into a vodkas a lot easier. It just, you don't need all this. You could do stripping runs in your pot still. So you just run the whole thing through quickly, save the spirit at the end, get enough of that from several washes, and then rerun it again, and if you want, rerun it again. And that will give you a higher proof every time, and it will make the product a little drier, a little less oily. It's just, it's extra work, and if you're up for that, that's fine. But I'd rather cut it down, I'd rather do it, and we're experimenting with what we're going to be playing with in the future. So we're working and we're learning a lot of that, and that's what this is all about, is to learn. So I'm going through all these steps just so I can get everything in my head and I understand how the system goes. Same with building it. Is it more cost effective to just go out and purchase a Chinese unit? For sure, definitely. You can find the Russian Federation or Chinese parts, and you can do it a lot cheaper. Certain things that are cheaper to make, like the bubble plates, and you've seen in an earlier video I did that. But on things like the deflag and the condenser and all that, it is cheaper to actually just buy it. I bought them for the cost of the materials to replace some. So, but to learn, to understand, there's nothing better than actually making the whole system yourself. So in behind me, you see two more corny kegs. What's that for? Okay. One of my next mixes is the Buccaneers Bob rum. And in doing that, we're going to design a different setup for the still yet again. Rum is the only spirit that I want every ounce of flavor I can get out of it. I don't care so much about the proof. I want that to be thick. I want it to be oily. I want it to be heavy on my tongue. And to do that, I have to do it a little bit differently. But I still want a high quality product. I don't want a molasses shine, which is what I grew up with as a youngster. I do want a nice quality smooth rum, which is a full body, full taste. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these two corny kegs, this one and that, and we're going to go from the still, we're going to go up and around and then down into the one corn keg. And that will also be loaded with some backwash so that it imparts more flavor as it is used as a thumper. And then it comes out of that corny keg, goes up and goes into that one. Now they're also called Sankey, or I think it's a different size for the names, but anyways, you understand what I mean. So it comes out of the still into that one as a thumper, into that one, from there into that one as another thumper, and then it goes off to the condenser. And I'm just going to use the simple condenser we have. It's a shotgun condenser. If you're going to do it, a Liebherr condenser will work just fine. And it's a little shorter and a little lighter and easier to handle. We already have the shotgun, so that's what we're going to incorporate. Doing these connections are simple enough. It's just a small 2-inch piece, a pipe. You can actually, if you open these up, there's a pipe that goes inside from the ball cock. And it's a stainless steel pipe. So if you saw that off, just to get the pipe, you can actually attach that through a 2-inch pipe with a lid on it, and that can be your feed-in pipe, so that where spirit from the still comes down, now you'll have your backwash into here, or you could use just straight water, but best to get a flavor into there. And also, if you want to flavor a whiskey, or you want to flavor your spiced rum or a vanilla rum, you could do that within these as well, although I think I'd use the second one. So they'll be filled up to here. The pipe will come below that. So as it comes from the still, it comes in, goes below the liquid level in here, percolates this, heats it up, and then that again distills, comes up, goes out the exit pipe into this one with the same setup, percolates there, and also infuses there with any flavors you put in, comes out, goes to condenser, and then you have your spirit. It's when you do the research and you look at all the Jamaican, all the large rum facilities, they typically do it in three ways. They'll do a straight pot still combined with a column still, and then they mix those two together. That gives them a particular flavor for their rum. Now they're using Dunder and everything else, which is just a back set. If you want to go that route, fine. It's just a lot of extra work. The smaller companies, the smaller rum producers in the islands are using this setup. They go from their still to a double thumper system, and then they get a nice quality. And in trying all the rums I've tried, I prefer the flavor that I get out of this type of a setup. So this is why we're pursuing this for the future as well. So stay tuned. You'll see that down the road. But for now, I just thought I wanted to include that so you see what's coming up. All right. Thanks for joining me. If you like any of the videos you see on here, please hit the like. It's just down below here. And if you really like it, hit the subscribe. That helps us a lot. It gets other people to see that you like us and brings other people in so they can enjoy as well. If you can learn, excellent. We're more than happy to impart anything we learn. If there's something you want to offer us or any opinions, whether it's valid or not, we don't care. Send them our way, put it in the links below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And we're pretty quick at doing that. We'd love to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Take care. Time to fart? Well, that got on tape. That stays for the blooper later. And if you fart, you're getting kicked out.